up, y'all? So this right here is an amazing question. Thank you, my brother, for sending this to me. And we're gonna go through the pros and cons of in-center hemodialysis compared to home hemodialysis, Celoaffecthealth. So first, we're starting off with in-center dialysis and the pros of doing this type of modality. So one pro that I find with in-center is that you get mileage reimbursement. So depending on your insurance, Medicaid and Medicare, you can actually get paid and mileage reimbursed, significant amount of money, going to dialysis or going to see your doctor or to Walgreens or whatever it is to get your prescriptions. And this is tremendous because some of us, we drive 15, 20 miles to go to, do dialysis. And, that starts to add up when it comes to gas and just maintenance of your car. You get more access to your social worker. If you have questions or you're not feeling good, you have nurses, techs, you have more of a team around you consistently to be able to talk to and just take care of you, in case something goes wrong. Another pro with doing in-center dialysis is that you get to meet all type of people. So many friends. I have so many meemaws and papaws and just friends and that you become family because it's very difficult when you're dealing with something like chronic illness and having to do dialysis and just what comes with that. Sometimes your inner circle or your immediate family, they just don't understand. So it's pretty cool to meet other people from all over the world sitting next to you and building that bond and that relationship with them. So that's definitely a pro. So now the cons of doing in-center hemodialysis. So the con, I say, is that you always have to drive yourself. First and foremost, you have to drive yourself to wherever your clinic is at or find a ride. And sometimes that just doesn't work out. If you are getting a ride from the city or whatever it is, an Uber, it takes time and then you're late for your treatment. You got to cut your treatment. So that could be a headache and it could be a little stressful. Sometimes you don't get a choice or you don't really, it seems like you don't have a say in your dialysis time. Been times where I've had a 5:30 or 6 a.m. chair and you have to get there super early, just to make sure that you're not gonna infringe or your time is not gonna go into somebody else's time that comes behind you in the dialysis chair. So as a dialysis patient, you have rights and responsibilities. And if a 6 a.m. chair or a later in the afternoon/evening chair doesn't work with your schedule and your lifestyle, you have the right and responsibility to speak to your doctor, your dialysis team, and let them know this, so then they can modify it and switch you around. Another con I could say, just doing this for more than 22 years of me being on dialysis, is that there's times, in certain clinics that as soon as you go in there, it's overwhelming. The sound, the alarms, the people, especially if you're new to it, going to a dialysis clinic, it's very, very just, it's like a shot of real life. It's pretty intense. And then sometimes you have people that are super loud, techs that are on their phone, and all you want to do, like me personally, all I wanted to do was get some sleep. And it made it very difficult because there's some people that just don't care and they live their life the way that they want to. So that's definitely a con in my book. The con is that it is super cold. It is like a freezer inside of a dialysis clinic. Make sure that you take a couple of blankets, pillows, headphones. Like, you really want to be prepared for when you have to sit there for 3-4 hours and it's super cold, and you're just tied to this machine, right? There have been times where I took little fans or a blow dryer just to keep me warm. So that's definitely a con. Another con with doing dialysis in-center is the difference in the machines. So most in-centers, they work with this specific machine that's an older model, and I'm telling you, the way that you feel after you get done with your treatment, 3-4 hours, whatever your prescription is, in-center machines will drain the life out of you to the point where you start having pain in your chest, in your diaphragm, in your heart, your head. I mean, you just feel drained out of your mind. I call it zombie mode because all you want to do is eat something because the machine took so many nutrients and minerals out of you, and you just feel horrible for the most part. And it also depends on how much fluid you drain or you take off and how much fluid you have on. There's little things that we can tweak, but doing it in center, you're more limited, to be able to touch your machine and modify or control your dialysis machine the way that you see fit for your own health and your own body. This is very important. So that's definitely a con, that you feel super drained because of the type of machines that they have in center. That makes a difference. Another con I could say is that you're not able to eat nowadays or have snacks in some clinics or most clinics because of what's been going on with the pandemic. And this is horrible, to be honest, in my book, because one of the main things that happens when you're doing dialysis in center or at home, whatever it is that because the machine is pulling so much out of you, you become super hungry. You just want something, even if it's just a small snack. And depending on the clinic, that's not a good thing. So that's definitely a con. So that's the pros and cons of doing in-center dialysis. Now let's go ahead and move on to home hemodialysis, the modality that I've been doing for almost 6 years now, and it has changed my life. So the pros to doing dialysis at home hemodialysis, is that you're able to do treatment whenever it is that you want. You're able to do treatment whenever you choose. The amount of freedom and availability that brings into my life, I love it. It's priceless. So if I have, something to do later on at night, I have a birthday party or a meeting, I choose to do dialysis early in the morning, boom, I'm done within 3-4 hours. Or if I don't want to do that because, dialysis is still dialysis, you don't feel as drained, maybe I want to do it later on at night, and as soon as I'm done, I want to go to sleep. That's mostly what I do. So having that freedom to choose is priceless. It really is. Another pro with doing dialysis at home is that you're able to eat. You're able to have snacks. As soon as when I get connected to the machine and I'm around an hour into it, I'm already man, I'm hungry. So I have my snacks, my sandwich, or whatever it is ready to go because I already know that that's what's gonna happen. One thing that I've been doing this for 22 years. I always eat a little something before, well, depending. Usually I eat during treatment of doing dialysis, and then when I'm done, I always eat afterwards because I must replenish the nutrients that have just been, sucked out of me, and that's how I get back to my baseline. Supplementing and really just putting good quality, high frequency nutrients and foods into my body as soon as I'm done with treatment. That's key. Another pro by doing dialysis at home is that there are really no noisy alarms. Compared to in-center, there are constantly alarms going off because people are clamping or moving their arm, just loud noises everywhere, people watching TV or on the phone. So doing this at home, that really quiets and calms down, and that is tremendous for reducing stress and inflammation within the body. And honestly, this is one of the main reasons I decided to do it at home, is that you're able to feel more normal. You don't feel as drained when you do dialysis at home. The difference between an in-center dialysis, an older machine that's bigger, and the next stage, this is what I use. There are different machines, at-home machines out there, but I currently use the next stage machine with the Pure Flow. The way that I feel afterwards, I'm like, wow, I get done with treatment, I'm like, okay, I feel like my body did go through something, stressful, my heart, but it's not as bad. I don't feel so drained. I can literally live my life and go do stuff, and I just don't want to go to sleep, and eat. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do eat and I do rest, but it's not as intense as, in-center dialysis. So that by far by itself is a deal breaker for me. I will never go back to doing in-center dialysis because, doing it like this, it doesn't take so much out of me. It doesn't rip my muscles and destroy my heart the way those other machines were doing. I've been able to grow, build muscle, and just feel more vital and optimal doing this modality. So I just thank God, and every night I really look at my machine and I'm like, man, we've been through a lot of stuff together, dude. I love you. So I'm grateful. One of the last pros I can say for doing dialysis at home is that you have way more control over your dialysis treatment. It's about being able to feel more free and live your life more normally. And doing it at home gives you that. I can truly say that, especially if I want to travel or, do my own thing. I'm able to take my machine, call up next stage customer service and really set it up. And I don't have to worry about paying the difference and finding a different dialysis clinic that will accept me if I wanted to go to California or Texas or wherever it is. I just pick up my machine. I can literally right now pick up my machine because I have dialysis bags to take with me, and I could be gone for a week, almost 2 weeks if I choose to. That was the pros to doing dialysis at home. Let's get into the cons, because there definitely are a few downsides to doing it. But as soon as you learn about this and you balance yourself out, it's truly the best thing. Doing dialysis at home is that you don't have access to the nurses or the dialysis techs, especially if something starts to go wrong. You have to be able to look at your next stage handy booklet and figure out what the alarm is and fix it. And if you're not able to fix it, then you either have to call next stage customer service and they guide you through it. And they're tremendous, by the way. They have helped me for in so many different ways. So that's definitely a con. So be aware of that you really don't have a team around you that can watch you if something was to go wrong. It is optional, depending on your health, to have a caregiver. And for most people doing dialysis, that's definitely needed. Me personally, I don't have I have my family around me, but I do dialysis and I do my treatments on my own. And for the most part, I take care of myself. Even if something goes wrong, I don't risk it. I just terminate. I just terminate and I document the lost blood or whatever it is, and that's about it. But yeah, that's definitely, it could be a con depending how you look at it. Another con, I guess you could say, is that you do have to set up the machine, which takes time, especially if you want to create a sack, which I'm doing right now. That takes 7 hours. Every 6 months, you have to change a pack. That's the filters that help you, to filter out the dialysate and just the toxins. That takes about 3 hours. And you just have to keep the machine up to date. Have to do maintenance on the machine. And that could be overwhelming. It's like you're taking on a job when you do this. So just be aware of that. Another con, I guess you could say, by doing dialysis at home, depending on the person. And nobody likes needles. I don't know anyone that does. Well, maybe some people that are a little freaky, but anyways, what you got to do in order to do dialysis at home is, 1, have a caregiver that will stick the needles inside of you, or 2, you do it yourself, okay? So me personally, I first learned how to stick myself in center years ago. 1, because I had a few different nurses. Every tech will dig in your arm and they do it differently. And I had a few times where they infiltrated my arm pretty bad, and I never wanted that to happen. So I got to the point where I only had a certain few, like 1 or 2 people that I trusted to stick me. And then I got to the point where it's like, let me just do it myself. So that's definitely something you have to learn. when you do dialysis at home. So just be aware of that. So those are the pros and cons of doing dialysis compared to in-center and coming home and doing home hemodialysis. I hope that this helped you. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means, check the link in the bio, subscribe and like for more, because there is so much that we can do when it comes to feeling vital and feeling optimal, and changing modalities can really assist us. I hope that this helped you out. If you have a family member or you yourself are going through this, definitely talk to your doctors. Ask them questions and find out the best modality and the best prescription that works for you. Much love, and until next time.